Yes. What did we discuss? What topic did we discuss in the last class? Nobody remembers. Okay. So nobody remembers what we discussed in the last class. Is that I've kept the exact slide right in front of you to summarize, isn't it? We had started with hardware in CAD, right? Benefits of CAD. I think in the not, I don't think we discussed in the last class. What we discussed was hardware in CAD, right? About the design workstation, right? This is the uh, hardware that we utilize in CAD, right? The design workstation will consist of the graphics terminal and input devices. Okay, this will constitute our design workstation. Okay, and link to that is your CPU. Basically, the CPU executes that uh, controls. Okay, it displays the information on the graphics terminal, takes the input from the input devices. Okay, that's what it means. There is exchange of information. And output devices, okay, to display the, I'm sorry, to we discussed several output devices, right? Like plotters, right? Printers, secondary storage, right? To retrieve the data, to store the data. Is that what we discussed? Yes. Till output devices, it is done, right? Exactly. We discussed until output devices, yes, plotters, etc. What we discussed in the last class. Yes. So only one candidate is paying attention. Is that the case? I'm not asking you to summarize. I'm just asking you what was the last topic that we discussed, right? Okay, then. So we saw the different input devices that we use in CAD, right? You have cursor control devices, basically three categories: cursor control device, digitizers, and alphanumeric and other keyboard terminals. As for cursor control devices, you have all these categories. Digitizers is another category, and we saw, right, what does it contain. Alphanumeric, just like a keyboard terminal, you have alphabets and numbers to be put in, right? Different commands to be given as input. And as for cursor control, you have the first four having direct physical contact with the screen, right? I'm sorry, the last two having physical direct contact, and the first four are not having direct physical contact, but They are using either, like for example, a trackball. Okay, just like a mouse, you have a tracker ball, joystick. All these are non-contact with the screen, but these are contacting the screen, right? Touch input is what we have there. So we discuss all of that, right? Trackball, this what do you call the last category, light pen, right? And 3D scanners, another type of input device, digitizers, right? Just like your electronic tablet is very similar, but you have more control over here. And graphical terminal, right? One type of it is cathode ray tube, right? It was used in olden days, like you have those big computers, right? Even in PCs, you had those bulky monitors, right? All those were cathode ray tube. The mechanism of video signaling was cathode ray tube. So we saw that the basic principle and how it displays that it it lights up that the cathode ray will come in, right? And that will be displayed on the screen. It will, wherever it strikes on the screen, there you have a glowing spot, and that becomes the image. Wherever there is glow, forms an image, right? So that was the operation of CRT, cathode ray tube. And then output devices, as I said, these monitors which we used to had earlier, and these LCDs and LEDs what we have today. Output devices, printer, your normal printer, right? And plotters, right? For big drawings, for plotting big drawings, right? Not just A4, but A3, A2, A1, A0, all those big drawings. If you want to plot, you require a plotter. Simple printer will not do, right? Because the size is quite large. So that was what we discussed. Yes, sir, CRT is completed. Okay. So hardware in CAD. So this is what we wanted to start, but the last class finished. So another hardware, you see, we are continuing basically, isn't it? This isn't over. We have just seen some input devices and output devices. CPU and storage are still to be discussed. So that is why this is a continuation, you can say. So you have central processing unit, CPU, right? The full form of it is central processing unit. So it is the central brain of the CAD system, because that is basically, as I wrote, a mini computer. Okay, it operates, right? What is to be executed, right? What is to be taken from the input devices? How is it to be taken? Okay, all those calculations are to be done in the CPU. That is why we call it the central brain of the CAD system. Okay, or a mini computer. As it executes the mathematical computations needed to accomplish graphics and other functions. So as I said, computations are involved, right? To be able to display that on the screen, right? What is to be displayed after taking the input, and how that input is being converted for the software to know that this is what the user wants. The user wants to zoom in, zoom out, okay, to accomplish graphics and other functions. So you have different algorithms inbuilt, which does those mathematical computations and accomplishes those graphics and other functions. So, okay, and directs activities within the system. Okay, these are all the activities that are done by the CPU. What does it include? Design workstation management. So basically, if you have one or more than one workstation, right, or even within the workstation, how is it to be managed? Okay, directing plotters in the generation of engineering drawings. So the plotter, as we saw here, right, has this. Let me slide show. That will be better, right? So the plotter that you see here, it'll move here and there, isn't it? All those motors will have to be given inputs to move, right? And what ink is to be put in. Okay, if you have a multicolor plot, then that becomes much of a complicated issue. So all those have to be given, the instructions have to be given, right? So directing the plotters in the generation of engineering drawings. Okay, that is what it means. Copying data currently on disk onto magnetic tapes for semi-active storage. So basically what you have is there is a swap of data, okay, between that which is on the disk, okay, onto the magnetic tapes, okay, for semi-active storage. So it's not a permanent storage because of some storage issues, like there is not enough memory available. So you have those swapping of data. We even have this in our personal computers, or what we call swapping. Okay, the data is being swapped from one entity to the next, okay, for temporarily, and then you will retrieve that again once there is enough memory. There's not a shortage of memory, you can say. If there are more applications to be involved, more applications are being used, you have to have some memory to execute that. So if there is no memory, then the current data which is not being utilized will be sent to some other entity, okay, right within the system. That's called swapping. Okay, that ensures that has been ensured by our CPU. Reading magnetic tapes containing drawing data for possible revision. Okay, as I said, retrieval of the data, right? So magnetic tapes is what we were using earlier. So to retrieve that drawing data, for it to be revised or to be printed, right? So you have to read that and then execute it, right? So that, and transmitting data to and from other larger computers. So if there are more than one workstation involved, as I said, so data has to be transmitted, right? And also we have this concept coming in the next slide, wherein you have transfer of data, like multiple computers being used, each computer having its own, we are utilizing it to the full potential. Okay, so the transfer of that data also has to be taken care of by the CPU, right? Clear, right? Any doubts in the slide? No. Okay, so now continued. Okay, cost of computers and computer memory continues to decrease as technology develops more powerful computers and greater memory capacity in future CAD systems. So you see, computers earlier were very costly, as we know, because the cost involved was very high to procure that computer, and the memory involved in it was very costly. But nowadays technology has developed, and we have better production, we have better technology in the form of IC chips, etc. So all that is making it less costly. So you have, so that cost continues to decrease as we have the technology. So more powerful computers are coming up. You see, earlier only workstations were there. Like the word workstation is presently now very rare. Only personal computers are enough with quite a good amount of RAM and memory. Even personal computers, as we know, we are running CATIA, isn't it? CATIA, ANSYS in these personal computers. Yes, it cannot solve complicated problems, but as compared to the earlier computers, they can solve much of the problems, much of complicated problems as well. So you have these powerful computers and greater memory capacity now, okay, and that will evolve in future CAD systems as well. CAD systems would normally use secondary storage units to reduce the cost of more expensive main memory. As I said, instead of main memory, which is expensive, secondary storage units are being used, okay. And for greater computational and memory capacity, the CPU of CAD system are being connected to larger mainframe computer, okay, which is called host computer. So as I said, to utilize each entity to its fullest, you are now connecting the computers to, you're now connecting CPUs to mainframe computers, okay, which is called host computer. So you have this diagram here, as you can see, that this CPU, right, which is running in all these design workstations, you now have a host computer connected here, okay. So a host computer is called in to execute the complex engineering and numerical analysis, which otherwise would overburden the CAD system CPU. So as I said, when there is shortage of memory for the CAD in the CPU of the CAD system, right, there is swapping of data, as I mentioned. So instead of that, what we are doing is a host computer is being used. Okay, that is being called in. The CPU will call in that host computer to execute this complex engineering and numerical analysis. Okay, all the analysis part computations will be taken care by that host computer. Okay, upon completion of the analysis by the larger computer, results are downloaded to the graphic system for display or hard copy output. So either you are displaying it or you want to output it as a hard copy. So those results will be downloaded to this graphic system. You see, our CPU has the ability of graphics. Okay, graphics capability is what we have. A host computer has capabilities of solving computations for numerical analysis. So we are utilizing this to the fullest and that to the fullest as well. Host computer and CPU. Once the host computer calculates the basically executes the analysis and comes up with the results, those results are being downloaded to the CPU and then that will be displayed, right, by the graphic system. So for display hard copy output, this procedure allows individual elements to utilize their full potential, isn't it? That's what we discussed. The concept of intelligent terminals in a distributed computing system wherein each terminal contains a microprocessor to function as a small CPU for that terminal. So you have these intelligent terminals called basically distributed computing system, as I said. So each terminal will have its own microprocessor, okay, that functions as a small CPU. So it does its own computations. Okay, so that relieves host computer of many of the computational requirements of a conventional CAD system. So even with the host computer, you are now relieving the host computer as well, right? You are relieving the CPU, which was overburdening, and you called in host computer, and now even the host computer is being relieved because you are calling, because you are putting some what is called an intelligent terminal. Okay, so they have their own microprocessor, okay, which will solve some of the computations, so that this host computer is now relieved, okay, of the computational requirements. Any doubts so far in the diagram? Right, because we'll go to secondary storage now. You see in this diagram, the host computer will have peripherals. Peripherals are nothing but that which is surrounding it, isn't it? Periphery, perimeter, periphery, all that is synonyms. So that and output plotters for him to output, if at all there is a need for printing it, plotting it, right? That and the different design workstations being connected. Okay. So that, so this is what we're seeing as a configuration of host satellite CAD system, right? Because that is what it is doing, right? Host satellite CAD system. There is transfer of data. Secondary storage. The other part in hardware is secondary storage. So generally takes the form of magnetic disk and magnetic tape, right? As I was mentioning, that CPU has to read in the data from the magnetic tape. So magnetic disk and magnetic tape is what we have in terms of secondary storage. You see in our CPUs as well, we have this called we have this hard drive disk, right? HDD storage unit, isn't it? That's what we use. Those C, D, E, F drives are basically in our hard drives, or basically a storage system. So similarly, you have that in the CAD as well. Reduces the cost of main memory computer. Okay, so secondary storage, as we call it, is secondary. Okay, and can be used for engineering drawing files, CAD software, which can be transferred to main memory as needed. Temporary files for CPU output to be downloaded to individual graphics terminal, products, etc. So this can be used, the secondary storage can be used for engineering drawing files, right? CAD software, which can be transferred to main memory as needed. So even this, as I said, can be transferred to main memory as required from secondary to that main memory. Temporary files for CPU output. So if at all there are any second temporary files which are to be downloaded to individual graphics terminals, right? Like there are many workstations, isn't it? So individual, where at all it is required, there will be downloaded. So those temporary files also. And the random access configuration feature gives magnetic disk the advantage of rapid retrieval to be utilized for CAD system software and CAD database. So random access configuration, right? What we have RAM, isn't it? So that feature gives magnetic disks the advantage of rapid retrieval. That is why whenever we, for example, when we click, okay, on a model, for example, I'll give you a specific example. Even if we take a general example, like you click on a file, double click, that is taken as an input. The software now knows, I mean the operating system now knows that the user wants so and so file to be opened. So it'll have to retrieve that, isn't it? It'll have to go to that particular location and retrieve that. So that retrieval is what we are talking about here. Even in the case of CAD system, CAD software, when you are clicking a file, when you are asking the system to open a certain file, that has to be rapidly done, right? That's a rapid retrieval. So this random access configuration is what gives the rapid retrieval feature to be utilized for CAD system software and CAD database as well. So not just to execute the system software, but also the database, as we mentioned, to open a file residing in the memory. So rapid retrieval allows the CPU to load and swap programs and files between primary and secondary memory when required. So as I said, between primary and secondary memory, when there is overburdening for the primary memory or main memory. So this magnetic disk, okay, CPU along with magnetic disk is what helps us to load and swap these programs or files between these memories. Okay, storage of programs and files which are not frequently used by the system makes the magnetic tape usage viable, less costly but longer access time. So those files which are not to be used very frequently, okay, so therein you'll use this magnetic tape. Okay, so the magnetic tape has its usage viable, or you can say very feasible or optimal to use. Okay, uh, so that makes it possible, okay, viable, makes it possible for the magnetic tape to be used for programs and files which are not frequently used. Okay, you see here, but it is less costly although, but longer access time, right? Magnetic tapes will require some time to open those files or programs, so they are not costly, okay, but therefore you have longer access time. So this is suitable for permanent archival files, disk backup, and data transfer to output devices. So if you are having some permanent archival files which are not to be used quite often, or disk backup, okay, trying to back up some in the disk, and data transfer to output devices, all these places are it's quite feasible or viable for magnetic tape to be used as secondary storage. Okay, now computer graphics software and doubts in the last uh, slide. Yes, secondary storage. What are permanent archival files? You see, for example, there are old drawings. Okay, I'll give you an example. As I said earlier, we used to have manual drafting, right? So those, when we want to convert them, for example, those are like, for example, drawings of 1980s or 1970s, and they are manually stored. Like you have physical papers, okay, drafting drawn by humans. So those, if you want to either scan it or make a model and then draft it, okay, two ways to do it, right? You can either scan that if it is very much visible and legible, you can scan that and store it in digital form. Other method is you can actually draw that, okay, using those drafted files that you have, drafted diagrams you have, dimensions and everything you have. Using that, you can model it in the CAD software and then draft it, right? That is another way. Automated drafting. To use automated drafting, you have to make a model. So once you have done that, you have drafted it, okay. Those are old products, isn't it? If at all they are to be utilized, if at all at some point of time you require those products, those data, okay, because that will not be used. The products that were used, the drawings that were used earlier, right, in those decades, there will not be it will not require the retrieval of that quite often, right? So for those files, right, that could be one example of permanent archival files, right? Basically those files which will not be used much often. An example could be this what I gave, okay. Because no new standards are coming in, right? Especially for the aerospace industry, you have standards being revised, that so and so process was there, but there is an improvisation in that. So they say we are no longer following that standard, we have a new standard. So for that to be uh, when that is revised, you will not use the old standard, right? If at all the new standard is not feasible or is giving some problems, you will again go back to the previous. So like that, right? Okay. Other than that, no doubt, right? Okay, just a minute. Now you have computer graphics software and database. So about that graphic software and the database involved. So graphic software is the collection of programs written so that it is convenient for a user to operate the computer graphic system. You see here in the bottom, you have this design workstation, which includes the graphics terminal and the input devices. Okay. So this design workstation, and you have this graphics package, right? Application program and its application database. So for that, what do you say, graphics package to work, there has to be a program, right? That what you have these uh, programs in the market, they have all been written. They've all been programmed, right? Like you have all those programs being written so that when you click on an option, it will ask you to give that, it will respond, right? So you require an application program, right? So that the user can interact with the system and the system can display. So that program requires a database, because when you are when there is in and out of data, okay, the data is being uh, there is retrieval and displaying of data, right? You are retrieving the data, okay. Whenever I'm clicking some option or some model, okay, I want to open this model, the program has to take it from somewhere, right? For example, the storage, okay, it is there in the storage, as we know. So for the program to take it from the storage, you have to store it in a way that is easier for the program to locate it, okay. So the database the organization of the database basically is what we are talking about here when it comes to database. Okay, the software will work, yes, but how is the software able to utilize that data? Okay, how is it retrieving? When you are able to retrieve that data, for example, a general example could be in a room full. Okay, there is a room full of let's say mobile phones, let's say. So if they are not properly arranged, like not if I have sorted them, like let's say by company, okay, all company phones are at one place, Samsung phones at one place, Lenovo at one place, Nokia, etc., etc. So if that is sorted properly, and if I ask you to go and take a certain model, okay, pick a certain model, you'll be able to take that easily, isn't it? Because it is sorted easily. So similar goes for the database, right? How is the data being stored? Right, the storage of data has to be so done that the software can easily retrieve that. Okay, because we want the model to open very fastly, right? So that it reflects, right, the amount of time spent on designing or modeling will count as lead time itself, because you want to deliver the product, right? All that is connected, right? So to be able to retrieve that early, to be able to display that easily, okay, all of that has to be done easily, and that requires the database to be organized properly, right? So all of our graphic software and database will discuss all of these things, that how is the what are the functions of the graphic software and how is it functioning, and how is the database organized, and how does the software utilizes that database. Okay, so graphic software is a collection of programs written so that it is convenient for a user to operate the computer graphics system. So you have a collection of programs, not just one program, collection of programs, right? All programs intended for specific purposes, right? So that software is a collection of programs written so that it is convenient for the user to operate the computer graphics system. It encompasses programs to generate images on the CRT screen, to manipulate the images, to accomplish various types of interaction between the user and the system, right? As I had mentioned, all those programs, why are there? Why is there a collection of programs? So programs, some programs could be to generate the images on the CRT screen, right? How are you going to generate the image on that screen? Basically displaying of that, whatever the user is asking, right? And manipulation of the images, as I said, you want to rotate, okay, the model, you want to scale the model, zoom in and zoom out, right? You want to have assemblies, okay, you want to have some relationship between the components so that there is an assembly involved, right? So manipulating all of that will require manipulation of the images being produced to accomplish various types of interaction between the user and the system, right? As a general thing to say, interaction between the user and the system. So all those requires programs, so that programs are all written in the computer graphics software. In addition to the graphics software, there may be additional programs for implementing certain specialized functions related to CAD/CAM. These include design analysis programs, example FEA and kinematic simulation, and manufacturing planning programs, example automated process planning and NC part program. So not just the graphic software, programs for implementing the specialized functions, like what? CAD and CAM, right? So design analysis program, for example, FEA software. For me to generate the mesh, there has to be a program written so that the software will generate the mesh, isn't it? I am just asking him, all I'm giving him as an input, all I'm giving the software as an input is the element type I want and the number of elements I want, or basically the element size. Okay, let's see the element size. So how will the software be able to mesh that? It has to have a program written which will specify so and so, it will specify an algorithm, right? How is it to be done, right? So for FEA, meshing, not just meshing, application of loads, so and so load is to applied here. Okay, how will the software know? You have to have a program written. Not just that, and even CAD itself, as we discussed, and manufacturing planning also. automated process planning and NC part programming, right? You have this concept of group technology for doing this process planning. So that will require different codes being put in, right? How will the software able to know what code to take, and how does the software know what code does this part belong to, this component belongs to, because every component will have a code, okay? In the group technology, for process planning purpose, you have this thing. So all of that, okay, programs being written for all of that. NC prod programming, another example. Okay, graphic software for a particular computer graphic system is very much a function of the type of hardware used in the system. So it depends, right? Depends on the hardware, right? If the hardware involved is not very what you can say, uh, not very expensive and not very complicated, okay, then the graphic software also will be of that caliber, right? So graphic software is a function of that type of hardware. Like if that hardware is not able to execute that properly, then the software will also function, because there is a relationship, right? There is this dependency. That is why we are saying that it is very much a function of the type of hardware used in the system. Also, to be able to utilize certain features, if the hardware is not capable of doing that, then the software will also not be able to, because the software relies on the hardware, isn't it? The hardware that we have. So hardware components are required to be able to execute that in the graphic software. Okay, like this kind of situation. If you're using these kind of units, those kind of units have to be there, right?